ST.
We've got one day until the midterms. Just kidding. JK. LOL. No, but unfortunately or fortunately, however you want to look at it, the midterms continue. They're not over. I mean, they're almost over, and in fairness, they're petering out. There's not much left, but there's a little bit left. And, of course, the most controversial of what remains is in Mississippi, and it is happening tomorrow. There is a runoff tomorrow in Mississippi, and it is kind of about racism. It's turned into a race about racism. Can I say it that way? Okay, sure. Here's the deal. Cindy HydeSmith, who is the sitting senator, is the Republican there, is running against Mike Espy. Do I have that right? All of a sudden, I started doubting his first name. But she was supposed to be a shoo-in, in part because Mississippi has not had a Democrat as a senator for a really long time. I don't have the number of years in front of me, but let's just say for the foreseeable past, that's completely backwards, but you know where I'm going. In any case, now it's close enough that they needed a runoff, and close enough that it's not clear how the runoff will go tomorrow. Part of the reason it's not clear is because of what happened last year in the special election with Roy Moore in, was that Alabama? Alabama. Because Alabama was in a similar situation. It had been Republican held for a very, very long time, very Southern. But Roy Moore had obviously committed some very egregious faux pas. That's a nice way of saying it. In his past, that caused, a lot of women in particular to be outraged enough to go to the polls and choose the Democrat. So there's a fear on the right that this same thing could happen in Mississippi, in part because Cindy HydeSmith has gotten herself into some trouble as well. Now, in fairness, her offenses are not nearly as egregious as Roy Moore's. She did not molest anyone. She's not guilty of any crimes. She's just kind of, well, let's be honest, icky. That's a technical term. She's icky. It started, and there have been a few things actually that have come out about her now, but the real dust-up started, that's my word of the day, dust-up. The real dust-up started when she made this somewhat offhand comment. See if you can hear it.
He invited me to a public hanging at me on the front row.
Very hard to hear her on the radio, so I'll just translate for you. She was at an event, a fundraising event for her, and she was thanking the man that held it, and she said, essentially, I'll paraphrase, I love this guy enough that if he invited me to a public hanging, I'd be on the front row. That's what she said. And you can hear it better if you go to YouTube and look for a video of it, because somehow when you see it, it's easier to hear, and when you're in your own house and not in your car listening to the radio, easier to hear. Public hanging in Mississippi. That's a term she used. She's a sitting senator in Mississippi. See anything wrong with that? Well, lots of people did. So she was asked about this, of course, because the implications, the racist implications of using a term like that are just too obvious, and she should never have said it. It was the wrong thing to say. So she put her office put out a statement. Now, I was searching around for the statement, and I didn't find exactly what was in the statement, so I can't read that to you, though I'd like to. Maybe we'll get that for you in the second hour of the show. But she was asked about this in a live press conference. I want to say it was the day after this occurred, or within the next day or so. And here is what she said.
We put out a statement yesterday, and we stand by that statement.
Could you expand on it then, why you said it, what you meant by it, and why people in the state should not see it as offensive?
We put out the statement yesterday, and it's available, and we stand by that statement.
Senator, are you familiar with Mississippi's history of lynchings?
I put out a statement yesterday, and that's all I'm going to say about it.
Governor
You
Bill
mentioned
Bryant.
that it shouldn't be viewed with a negative connotation. Could you at least
I put
explain
out a
how it could
statement
be
yesterday, and we stand by the statement, and that's all I'm going to say about it.
So apparently she put out a statement, and she put it out yesterday, and that's all she's going to say about it, because she said that 4 times. And if you watch the video of that particular press conference, she said it with, well, an icky smile on her face. There's a reason I'm calling her icky, because she had this condescending, like, I don't have to answer you if I don't want to. I'm not actually running for office, so screw you guys kind of face. Ew. Here's the thing. Let's get to a turn of phrase, right? People say things all the time, especially, if you're older and you're a few generations maybe out of the current, what's acceptable, I don't know, mode, and you make a mistake and you say the wrong thing and you didn't mean it. I have done it many times. I have used words that are, not used anymore in polite company. I've never gotten myself really in big trouble with this, but my daughter sometimes is the word police for me, and she will call me out if I say anything that's, icky. And so this was wrong. As a senator and someone who has a long history of public service in the state of Mississippi in particular, she should have known better. But let's take the argument that she didn't, that it's a turn of phrase she heard her entire life growing up. She didn't mean anything by it. I mean, because if you translate what she was really trying to say, she was saying, look, this man who just raised all this money for me, I think is so great that he could invite me to the most negative event there is and I'd be there in the front row. That's what she was trying to say. But the minute she realized, when it was pointed out to her that was icky and inappropriate and, let's be honest, racist, she should have immediately said, oh no, my bad, totally not what I meant, so sorry, will not ever use that phrase again. Please excuse me. Not what I meant. So sorry. She didn't. She did exactly what you just heard over and over again. We put out a statement. No, I don't understand why people are upset. That's the implication of that. No, I don't care. That's the implication of that. We put out a statement. So some time goes by, about a week, and it's time for her debate with her opponent for tomorrow's runoff, Mike Espy, the Democrat, who also has a very long and established political history, by the way. So he's a good candidate. That's why I'm telling you that. And in the debate, she finally had this to say.
Anyone that was offended by my comments, I certainly apologize. There was no ill will, no intent whatsoever in my statements. In nearly 20 years of service, I have worked with all Mississippians. It didn't matter their skin color type, their age, or their income. That's my record. I also recognize that this comment was twisted and it was turned into a weapon to be used against me, a political weapon used for nothing but personal and political gain by my opponent.
Okay, let's refresh ourselves on how to apologize. You just say sorry, SORRY, all together now. I'm sorry. It's really easy. And you don't follow up with, or let me before the follow up, you don't start with, if you were offended, I'm sorry. You just say, I'm sorry. Whether you were offended or not, I'm sorry. And then you don't follow up with, but, well, it was his fault. Well, I'm sorry if I hurt your feelings, but you're kind of overly sensitive, and, well, he made me do it. It was his fault. That's essentially what she did. That was an apology. Like, if it were a burger, the little mini apology burger in the middle was like, the bun was like the blame bun. It was like a bun of blame on either side of that mini burger apology in the middle. That's what that was. And it was lame. Didn't make her any less icky as far as I'm concerned. So, look, we are all going to make these kinds of verbal slip-ups, but all you have to do is take the apology tour immediately. And those people who have done that have come away far cleaner than those who haven't. You can take that discussion to the sexual harassment discussion, to any of it. The apology is worth a lot, especially if it's done quickly and without any caveats. You need to have a caveatless apology. But there was no collusion and no conclusion. I just thought I'd throw that in there. Game on, Tiny. In any case, the vote is tomorrow. And look, there is only something like 37% of the eligible voters in Mississippi that are black. And it is not clear that they will all come out. It is not clear whether or not there's enough of an independent vote, whether they voted Republican in the past, but maybe they lean a little bit towards the middle. It's unclear. And it's unclear if people are seeing this I'll say so-called bad behavior on the part of Cindy HydeSmith as bad enough to make them turn away from the Republican candidate, whomever that candidate may be. So we'll see. But it's an interesting discussion, and here we are with an election that is probably not going to get the same attention, runoffs never do, as the midterm itself. And could be, if the Democrats can pull it out, could be a real victory for that state, for the Democrats in that state, and a real slap to President Trump. Well, he does not want that to happen, so much so that he is going to be there tonight for a rally. He is going to do a rally with Cindy HydeSmith. I think it's partly just because he loves a rally. And now that the midterms are over, it's really a little too early for him to start rallying for himself for 2020. So why not rally for her? I think he just, needs a rally to put some pep back in his step.